What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Geeky Gecko Creations Live. I'm just going to run a sound check here real quick, make sure that I can be heard, make sure our mic is plugged in so we can keep an eye on this gorgeous, not little gal. I was going to say little gal, but this is actually a gentleman, very distinguished gentleman from our Hurricane Tangerine project. And we're going to be here to answer questions tonight. Let me go outside the room, make sure that I can hear myself. Make sure that I can go outside the room. And now I'm in the bedroom and I can hear myself. All right, so sound check's good. I learned my lesson from a few live streams ago where the sound was not good. Now, because this is a shorter tub, I'm just going to have to keep a closer eye on these geckos. Let's see, I'll keep my phone here so I can kind of keep an eye on the chat. Chat GPT, what's up? And hopefully this doesn't slow me down too much because I do have lots and lots of leopard gecko work to do always. So I just want to be conscientious of that. Actually, I do have something outside I need to grab. I need to grab some more dirt real quick. So, hi little one. While I go grab the dirt, let's put a lid on this. Let me see if I have some dirt here in the... Actually, I do. I got some dirt in-house. No, that's not going to be enough. So I'll just take a second to grab some dirt from out yonder. First, I need a lid because this guy will definitely jump out. As you can see, he's already jumping out. The little dude is so cool, though. Look at that head stamp, head pattern. So this guy's from our Hurricane Tangerine Red Diamond Desert Storm project. Let's give me 2 seconds, guys. I'm going to run outside, grab some dirt for the day so I can accomplish my task, and I'll be back. Hi, baby Effie. You guys know Effie. She's our awesome cat that we have. So now I'm outside, but you should be able to hear me because I have my microphone on. All right, there's that. But let me grab a little bit more dirt here. That way, hopefully, I don't have to come back out. I love when you get the dirt fresh from Home Depot and it's still kind of moist. That's the best because it's a lot easier to add dirt to moist peat moss rather than completely dry peat moss where when you add water to it, it just kind of floats on top. All right. And that's going to be enough to accomplish my cause. Okie dokie. Now we can pull the cover back off here for you guys so you can see the lovely leopard gecko. And I'm going to do my cleaning and answer questions. So feel free to let me know. Thurgeson, thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Come on, little one. Cleaning might be a little tough if they're going to be climbing out, but let's try it because it's easier to see the geckos when the thing is low, like when this is low, compared to using a bigger tub. Makes it a lot harder to see the geckos. My gecko had them for 2 years and his tail is decreasing in size. He won't eat and drink much water. So first you want to make sure all of your care parameters are proper. So leopard geckos should have approximately a 90 to 100 degree hot spot. They should have a humid hide. They should have access to food and water, you know, on a weekly basis. And if they're not eating, there's a couple reasons why a male leopard gecko would not eat. And those reasons would be that either he's stressed out because he has a heavy load of parasites, which is possible because a lot of people forget parasites come oftentimes in the food that we are feeding our animals. And that's unfortunately something that you really can't control. Not all parasites, I would say, are necessarily detrimental or like devastating. You know, most leopard geckos can live with parasites and not have an issue. But what causes an issue is if the gecko is stressing because its care parameters might not be met. The stress of the leopard gecko can cause it to go off of food. And then when the leopard gecko goes off of food, that's when the parasites really take a hold of the gecko's body. So it could be that. It could also be brumation. So some leopard geckos are known to go into brumation. Oh, some of these are going to be jumpy, and that's going to be a problem. Like this guy. Let's see. So yes, if they are going into brumation, they might not eat. But if the tail is getting skinnier, how long has your gecko not been eating for? Usually a leopard gecko that has a chunky tail can go 3 or 4 months without food, you know, before their tail starts to get skinnier, if they had a chunky tail at the beginning of that 3 to 4 months. So my question to you would be, was the gecko, you know, chunkier a few months back? And how long has it been off of food? If it's just going through like a brumation type thing, some leopard geckos will slow down their eating for maybe 2 to 4 weeks out of the year during like a brumation type state. And that is common. But usually during that, they're not losing weight. So if your gecko's losing weight, that is a concern. This is a Black Knight Snow. Hold back Black Knight Snow. Boom. Male. From our Axanthic Werewolf project. June Esmo, what's the best way to achieve the optimal hot zone? Honestly, I like recommending bulbs, either using a infrared. I really like infrared bulbs because you can keep them on for a few hours at night, and then you eventually want to shut them off, but you can keep them on for a few hours at night and watch the gecko hunt and move around. So infrared or those blue heat bulbs will allow you to watch them move around, and it's wicked, wicked cool. Now, if you want to offer your leopard gecko a little more enrichment, you could use like a mercury vapor bulb, which gives off UVB, or you could use like a red bulb in combination with a UVB bulb. So you're using 2 light bulbs. So the best way, though, to accomplish a warm spot for the gecko, in my opinion, is a bulb, because if you use a heat pad or heat tape, the gecko is only going to have access to warmth in that one area. And it's just about going to all be the same temperature, right? I mean, there might be a little bit of fluctuation, obviously, because Heat pads aren't perfect, which is something you need to be careful of because sometimes they can overheat and then your geckos can get cooked, and that's not good. They can malfunction, and that's another reason why I really like bulbs. But a bulb, you could make branches that get closer to the bulb, rocks that sit further away from the bulb to gather heat, layers of rocks to gather different layers of heat. And so that's really my favorite recommendation, is heat from above, because in nature, in the wild, leopard geckos gather heat from above, right? That's where they gather their heat from. The heat from above shines, and yes, it will like heat up rocks and sticks and stuff, but the heat still comes from above. It doesn't come from below. So I just like heat lamps and heat bulbs, honestly. And I think it looks cooler. It makes your enclosure brighter during the day, or even bright for a couple hours at night, so that you can watch your leopard gecko and look at your leopard gecko and enjoy your leopard gecko. When you don't use a light, you can't really enjoy your leopard geckos visually because they're not looking their best if there's no light and stuff like that. So for all of those reasons, I like to recommend... Oh, takes. Goodness. Hold on, we gotta run away here. Okay. We're good. And that was one of the things I was concerned about. But we'll have to keep an eye on you, little one. Let me actually put a blocker up so that if they jump out this way, there is a blocker here. So now we have a blocker to sort of be a visual barrier for them, to hopefully deter them from jumping out that way. Hopefully. But as you can see, we got to keep a close eye on them. So this is one of our holdback male black knights. When you have a large operation, you need a lot of males. A lot of people are always saying you need females because females produce the eggs, and that's absolutely true. But you could have a male that doesn't want to breed. You could have a male that loses weight. You could have a male that stresses out and doesn't want to breed. So you want multiple males as backups. So this year, I held back a ton of male black knights so that we can benefit with all of our females, because we have a lot of like 50% to 75% black knight girls to 100% black knight girls. And then we have a lot of like 75 to 100% boys that are perfect matches for these girlies. Hi, baby. And for some reason, our black knights like to, not all of them, some of them can jump around a bit, but that's okay. That is a-okay. Here's our orange raptor project. Hi, baby. There we go. So we held back this year a ton of tangerine raptors so that we could start producing a bunch of high quality tangerine raptors for the US market. And that'll be next season. Next season, we should also have, I might hold back most of my Cypher stuff, but Lord willing, we should have a bunch of Cypher stuff. And I just need to decide on the direction that I want to go with all of that. Probably Tangerine Cypher, Black Knight Cypher. That'll be the direction to go. I'm going to use my red light so you can see them better. Yeah, red light is my favorite thing to recommend for like pet keepers kids, families that want to really observe their gecko. Because leopard geckos, if you use a daylight, which is perfectly fine, you could certainly use a daylight to heat source. But leopard geckos, for the most part, they're coming out more or less in the evening times and when the lights are low or off. And so with a red light, you'll see them a lot more, in my experience and opinion, than with other kinds of lights, you know, bright lights and stuff. Now, sometimes they will come out and they will, you know, bask under a UVB bulb or something. So that's certainly a thing. But I'm just saying, in general, they really like to come out more in the evenings and darker hours of the day. I'm also holding back certain raptors that have 50% like snake eyes compared to other raptors that have 100% eclipse or partial eclipse eyes. This guy's pretty cool. Look at the spider web design on this guy. And the colors are like 10 times better in person, but on a natural camera like this, you're not gonna get the quality that it really is in person. Steven Universe, hello. Also, I apologize. I know I said that I would be adding leopard geckos daily to our website, but, you know, as life goes, sometimes you get behind. But just so you guys know, I have about 150 geckos that I'm going to be adding little by little to the website for our 50% off sale for November. And I will also most likely run it through December, for the holiday season through December as well. And so over the next 2 months, I'm going to be adding those 150 plus leopard geckos to the website. We're really starting to get caught up on cleaning and stuff here now, which is great. Tatum is back full force helping. And then also, as we get caught up on cleaning, Tatum and I will also do more live streams where we can just show off the animals, you know, of course, answer your questions, but show off the animals that are actually for sale. And you guys could call out like, hey, I want to see this one from the website. And then you could certainly see it. This is another beautiful tangerine eclipse, which is a very nice color tangerine for an eclipse. Since if you don't know, eclipse dilutes the color tangerine. So it's very important to breed and hold back a lot of tangerine eclipses that are showing more and more color so that we can continue to enhance those colors over time. And it's really starting to happen, not just with us, but with other breeders, finding success enhancing the color of tangerine in raptor projects, which is really cool. I love how you hold them and handle them like a toy or like a hot dog. What do you mean? Like a hot dog? They are long and lanky like a hot dog. I mean, really, leopard geckos, they make great pets, but because of their smaller stature, size, easeability of care, and all that kind of stuff, people love to collect them for their colors, their morphs. People love to breed them since they're easy breeders. They're just all around a great reptile. And so I love them. They're my favorite for sure. You know, I love all reptiles, and this will never, ever happen. But sometimes I wish I only had leopard geckos so that I could put all my time into that. But I love my sailfin dragons. I love my tegus. I love my ball python morphs. So because of all of that, I'm sure that will never happen where I only have leopard geckos. But sometimes I think to myself, gosh, how much more content could I make and live streams I could do and all that kind of stuff if I didn't have all the other animals that we have. But life is what it is, right? And it is what it is. What is up, Leopard Gecko's name? Lamp, I am better. What's going on, guys? Good to see y'all here. Nah, not a little one. My gecko's name is Godzilla. Great name. All right, you're done. You're fired. This one has a red dot on it too, the one that I just had, which is cool. Because that's how Tangerine started, with just a small orange dot. And then now look what we have. We have beautiful, full body colored orange geckos. So imagine, just imagine, that same thing happens with red. If you saw my last Instagram post, that's kind of what I'm focusing on with the Red Dragon project as well as the Fire project, bringing in more and more intense reds into the Tangerine projects that we have, which is very cool. Coolio. It's another Black Knight holdback. Let's see. Yeah, he's from Black Knight Snow lineage, but he is not a Snow. He is just a Black Knight. It's always good to diversify that DNA so you're not inbreeding too much, all the while to still get the darkness. It's a living Oreo. My gecko has an orange line on the top of her tail. That's very cool. I know a long time ago, Wally from Supreme Gecko was like, I want to get a Black Knight leopard gecko with an orange tail. How cool would that be? And so we'll see if we can make that possible one day. First, we need to get a yellow leopard gecko with an orange tail, which is something I'm working on. And I showed pictures of that on our Instagram as well. I call it the Tricolor Project. And if we can get a yellow leopard gecko with an, here's another male holdback Black Knight. If we could get a yellow leopard gecko with a all orange tail, that would be one step closer to making that happen. But I think that's the first step before it can happen with Black Knight. Can you stay inside, little one, please? Por favor. Por favor. Do you see my gecko on my profile picture? Yeah, kind of. It's kind of small on the screen that I'm looking at right now, but Rise is in here? Hello, Reese, if you are. Say wink 2 times, Reese, if you're in here. Sorry I missed your call the other day, too. I kind of was sick over the weekend, woke up late. I've really been so busy, guys, with taking care of the animals because a lot of our employees and workers were just not available this last couple of months. And so I've been trying to do it all on my own. But thankfully now Tatum is back and we're getting caught up with things. And hopefully I'll be in a position soon where I can start, not as much cleaning is needed so that I can start doing like more live streams and all that kind of stuff. Okay, where is my sifter? We have a sifter for when the mealworm poop starts to accumulate in the feeding tub. So you can see we're just feeding out of like a bowl like this. I don't want to scare the gecko, so I'm not gonna do that, but let me open up this stool here. So we have this little, you can't see it. I can't move the camera angle, so What size containers do you use for your geckos? You mean like what size are we keeping them in? So like babies are 3 quarts up until they're about 2 to 3 months old. Once they are about 3 months old or slightly under 3 months old, we move them to 6 quarts. And then once they usually sell by the time they're in 3 quarts to 6 quarts. But if we're holding them back to put them into breeding groups and stuff like that, then eventually they'll get set up in a group, which is a 28 quart tub for about 1 male and 3 females is the ratio that I like, or 1 male and 2 females. So 2 or 3 females is what I like. And then the male doesn't live in the 28 quart tub. He just spends a few days there. I usually do 1 day per female. So if there's 3 females, the male will be in there at the start of the season for about 4 to 5 days at the start of the season. And then sometimes at the start of the season, the girls don't breed with the male. So I have to do what's called a repairing. And when I repair the gecko later on in the season, that's when I will usually do the 1 day per girl. So if there's 3 girls in a tub or 2 girls in a tub, the male will be in there 1 day for every girl that's in there. And we've never had any like really bad injuries or anything like that. I mean, some normal, a little bit of biting and stuff like that. But I keep a close eye on things. And if I notice that there is a girl that is showing dominance or something like that, then I'll take care of that tub, make sure she's removed or everyone's removed, or they all get set up in individual tubs, or they just don't breed for the year. There's different protocols depending on what exactly is going on, but that usually doesn't happen. What I usually tell people is 95% of females are fine living together. There's only 5% that like to cause each other trouble or get domineering sometimes. And I would say that that number actually might even be less than 5%, honestly. All right, so this is also a Black Knight. This is also from Black Knight Snow lineage, but it is not a snow. So it's just a normal Black Knight to use in breeding operations. My 4 adult leopard geckos. Hold on, I can't see this. Ooh, this one's beautiful. Beautiful color. Probably won't show up on camera, but beautiful orange. My 4 adult leopard geckos, kind of same body size and thickness as the one that you are showing. Is this the ideal weight? Yes, this is the ideal weight. And Hyro, hello. So you could see the chunkiness of the back part of the tail should be thicker than the base of the tail. And if that is so, then yes. And of course, you can go too big. Obviously, you can go too big. But the geckos that I'm showing right now, this is all the ideal body size. Especially for breeding, because you don't want them too big for breeding. A male and a female will have trouble breeding with each other if their tails are too big and if they're too chunky. And then, of course, if they're too skinny, if they go off of food during breeding or they eat less, which can happen with some males and females, then obviously that would be pretty detrimental to their health. And as we talked about earlier, if they do have parasites, because parasites are pretty natural in all insect feeders that we buy in our hobby, if they do have parasites and their body starts to go into breeding mode and they also go off of food, that would also be another indicator, if they're dropping weight very rapidly, that because they're not eating, the parasites are now feeding off of their fat reserves first and then their muscle reserves second. If you don't get that gecko eating, And then force feeding is like a last resort. I almost never have to force feed. What I normally do is if a male or female is not eating, I will just obviously separate them out from the group, and then they usually will eat within a couple weeks, and then they're good. Amy, what Insomniac Gecko Club? I was almost going to title this Insomniac Gecko Club, but then a lot of people who don't know that that's what we call ourselves, they wouldn't know that what that's referring to. So I was like, I'll just title it normal, something that people can relate to more. But we are the Insomniac Gecko Club. We are the IGC. I'll have to make merchandise and like shirts for us as the IGC. Boop, boop, boo. So pretty cool tangerine here. By any chance you have an adult breeder male tremper? I bought a really nice blood tremper male for $500 and he doesn't want to breed at all. That can certainly happen. Adult male breeder tremper. Not that I can think of. I do need to go through all of my breeders and downsize some, but not that I can think of right now. But over the next 2 months, I am going to be, this one's real cool. I'm going to be going through like older breeders or breeders we don't need, as well as just younger geckos that are growing up. And so keep your eyes peeled because we are going to be running a 50% off sale for the entire rest of the year. Just for celebration of the holidays, help with inventory, just as a bonus and a thank you back to everyone who loves to support us. So I have like 150 plus geckos that I will be needing to add to that little by little. It's just right now I've been really busy cleaning because that is the priority, making sure animals are fed and cleaned. But now that Tatum is back working and all that kind of stuff, I should be able to assign a lot of the cleaning to her so I don't have to do it. And then that will give me time for more live streams as well as updating more geckos more quickly to the website. So, and then, yeah, sometimes a male won't breed. What I would say is just separate them out and try again. Like when you don't succeed, try again, right? And that's usually what works. But sometimes, yes, there are males that just don't want to breed at that moment. One of my pets, if you saw Pikachu from one of my last videos, he's a 1 girl a year breeder. So he only likes to breed with 1 girl a year. It's so funny. This one is really cool. Wow, you can't see the orange. Look at you might be able to see it a little bit, but the orange, the belly on this one is so completely orange. Let me see. Wait, let me double check. Yeah, it's very orange, but it's also got this like banded kind of look, which is really cool. I call this the Banded Tiger Project. So yeah, if you follow us on any of our socials, every time I make an update, I share it to all of our socials. And so if I add 10 geckos or 20 geckos or 5 geckos, whatever it is that I add, it will show up on our socials. So if you follow us on any of our socials, that will pop up for you. Yeah, we need Insomniac Gecko t-shirts. And since I got a lot bigger since my last shirt order, like weight gain wise, I actually was looking today at shirts to buy, and I wanted to place another order of our t-shirts. But when I place an order of our t-shirts, I have to place an order minimum of 12. And so that's an expense of like almost $400 or something. It's crazy how expensive these shirts are because the material, there being a logo on the front and the back. So it's absolutely nuts. But I was looking at other shirt companies and stuff. But I'm very picky with my shirts because my skin is very sensitive, and like I need a shirt that doesn't give me rashes, that feels good, that doesn't show sweat. And that's what I like about our shirts, is because they're 90% cotton and 10% polyester, they don't show sweat marks. If they were 100% cotton, they would show sweat marks. I'm trying to think if that number's correct. I think it's 90-10. It might be 60-40, but either way, if you have 100% cotton shirts, cotton makes you warmer, number one, but it also shows sweat marks, number two. And since I'm always moving around a lot and Arizona's hot, I don't want cotton shirts. I want a polyester cotton blend. And this is something I've learned about myself that I just need or want. So now when I'm shopping for clothing, I have to be very specific. I know what I'm looking for, kind of. So. Can we see Pikachu? He's my favorite. Let me keep cleaning and then just remind me. Dude, do not buy any animals from PetSmart, just saying. Yeah, I mean, I understand, Amy, but at the end of the day, someone has to buy those little babies, right? Because otherwise, who knows? Maybe PetSmart puts them down, right? If they don't sell after a while, which is sad to say, but that's just like, that could certainly happen. So, and it's one of those things that it will never stop, you know? How people are like, well, if we just boycott this, it will go away. I really don't think that's true with PetSmart Reptiles, because PetSmart is such a large corporation and company, and they sell so many reptile products. This one is absolutely wicked gorgeous too. Look at the so bright orange. Probably not going to show on camera, but very, very nice orange. So that's why it's a hold back. But yeah, there's so many leopard geckos produced every single year. It's absolutely unreal. I mean, they are one of the most desirable sold pet reptiles in the world. Fun fact, if an animal is kept too long at PetSmart, they'll give you a pet for free. There you go. I'm glad they do that. I'm glad they don't do the alternative, which is putting the gecko down and restocking on babies, right? I am glad. So thank you for that fun fact, Raven. I can't see what your profile picture is, Raven, but it looks like professional. So if you don't mind sharing, what do you do? What is life for Raven? My screen's so small too, so I can't really see what it is, but all right, baby. Time to put you back. This whole rack is like tangerines and black knights. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is our Sailor Moon project. So if you look at the circle on this gecko's back, what I want to do is to work towards having an all black gecko with yellow circles on its back, and that will be the Sailor Moon project. So that's going to be something that we're holding animals back towards that have that look and appearance. So this is a Sailor Moon Black Knight Leopard Gecko beginning stages, I'll say, because this is the beginning stages of us kind of holding back this phenotype, which if you don't know what the word phenotype means, it just means the look. So if somebody is blonde hair, blue eyes, that's a phenotype. If somebody is brown hair, brown eyes, that's a phenotype. So this phenotype of having a circle on the back is something that I'm really looking forward towards working out in time genetically. And there's actually a lot of black knights You know, like out of every 100 black knights, you're probably going to get maybe 5 or 10 that have like circular type features, maybe even more, just naturally. And then if you start holding those back and selectively breeding them to each other, in theory, you should get even higher percentages of Sailor Moon type stuff. So Frank, what are the chances of a baby albino leopard gecko being born? A fancy albino, the term fancy is not used by anybody except Petco and PetSmart, okay? So a fancy just means that the leopard gecko is not a normal, meaning that it has other genetics in it. So like a normal leopard gecko is yellow with black bands when they're babies, right? If the gecko is a jungle, this one's really spunky. This is a nice werewolf, though. You could kind of see this ash gray monotone kind of look. Please be still. Let's see if we can lower the energy level on this one. Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, my little gecko. Go to sleep. Very slow movements. Very slow movements away. Lower your voice. No quick movements. So, what were we talking about? Fancy. So fancy is a term that only Petco and PetSmart uses to describe a leopard gecko that is anything but a normal. So I think they even call their albinos fancy. I'm not sure. Maybe they just call them albino nowadays, since albino is an easy term. But if it was like a Max Snow, a jungle, a tangerine, they might call it a fancy. I think they're getting fancy, AKA, with it, and they're starting to actually label what the genetics are. So if it's a tangerine, they're labeling it tangerine. But to my understanding, the term fancy originated from anything but a normal back in the day when Petco first started introducing leopard geckos to their sales operation. So technically, fancies are born all the time in breeder operations because breeders work with much more than just normals. So hope that answer helps. Pikachu has a lot of babies. So remember how I said Pikachu only breeds with one girl per year? I haven't even bred him the last couple years because I kept back so many of his babies, male and female, and I breed them all every single year. So even though Pikachu's not breeding, anytime you see white and yellow, hyperxanthic, bold stripe, anything like that, it's all from Pikachu. That's all from Pikachu because he was our original white and yellow, hyperxanthic, emerine leopard gecko. So I have a gecko since February and he hasn't shed yet. What should I do? You might just not be noticing him shed because they shed so quickly. About once a month they'll go into shed, and if you don't actually see them, they might just shed really fast overnight and you'll never know. So to be sure, first of all, if a gecko has stuck shed, it's very important that you give it a bath and remove the stuck shed with your fingers or with a pair of tweezers, because otherwise it'll get worse and worse and worse, eventually cutting off blood circulation to whatever limb or appendage the stuck shed is on, and that could amputate that appendage over time. So first of all, make sure there's no stuck shed. Second of all, make sure that the leopard gecko has a humid hide that stays humid. Make sure the humid hide is replenished with humidity. That means spraying it down with water as needed to keep it humid. You don't want it a swamp in there, but you want to keep it humid. And as long as you do that, you have nothing to worry about. Your leopard gecko will go into its humid hide and shed perfectly fine on its own, unless it has like some kind of health issue or mental issue that is preventing it from like realizing where its humid hide is. Some leopard geckos, I would even say, have skin genetic issues that give them like an unhealthy disposition to have shedding issues. But those are normally geckos that are like, they have other problems going on as well. Maybe they're runty, maybe they have weird shaped faces, or they've always been a problematic eater or something. Usually they have other issues going on as well when that happens. So, hello, D's. 20 years ago, they actually labeled Tremper giants. That's crazy. And then they're like, we're just going to call these fancies. You can't keep up with these peeps. Ooh, this one's a cool reverse stripe. So I'll kind of show you. So you can see that reverse stripe right there going down the middle of the back. And in my experience, that usually comes along with eclipse-based leopard geckos and het eclipse-based leopard geckos. And that makes sense because this guy comes from that lineage. And it's also one of those things that I think is kind of just random. Like, I've never bred two reverse stripes together to see if it acts as a recessive or acts as a dominant, but I've also never seen anybody speak of it as anything else other than a random chance, which is the same with red stripe leopard geckos, which to my knowledge is also just a random chance. Even if you have red stripe parents, not all the babies will be red stripe. And sometimes when you don't have red stripe parents, some of the babies will be red stripe. And that's very similar to reverse stripe. Both parents might not be reverse stripe, and you might get reverse stripes, and or parents might be reverse stripe and you don't get reverse stripe. So I think it's just another random genetic that we don't understand exactly what is triggering it or making it work. But obviously, there's certain things lining up in the gecko's DNA that are making it trigger on certain random occasions, right? Let me see if this one is eclipse. This one is not eclipse. Usually reverse stripe leopard geckos will be het eclipse, not visual eclipse, but sometimes you'll get visual eclipse ones. Here is another great example of Sailor Moon. It's not a very black leopard gecko, but you can see three distinct circles. And this is also another cool thing is, so check out the two yellow circles on the back, but then also check out the purple circle down there by the base of the tail. That is not what I'm going for right now. I'm not focusing on the purple circle at the base of the tail. I'm focusing on the yellow circles that are inside of the gecko's main pattern. But the purple circle at the base of the tail should also be another cool extension of this project to focus on over time. You can tell when they're going to jump. They get the look in their eye. All right, baby, time to go. And as you can see, that one that I just showed was a pure black knight, but it's not fully black. And so sometimes, just like I was talking about a second ago, the odds of a certain trait passing on are just not going to hit for you. even if the parents are representative of that trait. And all of our Black Knight parents are really dark. That one particularly did not come from a 50% female, but came from 200%ers or 75 and 100%, and you can see how it comes out. So what I normally like to tell people is the goal for diversity, as well as making pitch black or even just dark animals in general, is either breeding 270. Well, no, I would rather breed a 100% or close to 100% to a 75%, because then you're diversifying the DNA, but or even a 50%, because a lot of times I will breed like 100% male to a 50% female, and I'll get a certain percentage of really dark or sometimes even pitch black babies out of that pairing. And so a lot of people, I think, don't give enough credit to 50% Black Knight girls because they're totally capable of producing pitch black animals. And people get tied up in the percentage, and sometimes the percentage is not always good, meaning if you have 100% girl, she might actually be more inbred and she might give you more problems than a 75% girl. And she might not even be that dark, because just because a girl is 100% does not mean she's going to be dark. It just means that she's more inbred in that project. It's a percentage-based type of interaction. Not every gecko is going to be dark, even if the parents are dark. So, hi, little one. Just see, this one's a beautiful example. Another Sailor Moon. It's hard to see because the circles got covered up on this one, but if you look really closely, if I can realign this, if you look really closely, you can see the circles underneath the skin, the black tone. This one just got really nice darkness, so it's kind of hard to see, but the circles are under there. So that one will be part of our Sailor Moon project, because we need to increase the darkness, but we also need to keep those circles, you know? My screen froze there for a sec, so. Yeah, some of my best have come from a pure and a 75% exactamundo. My screen froze, and so I was like way behind. What's the difference of red diamond from a tangerine tremper? Red diamond is just a specific line of tangerine tremper. And in the leopard gecko world, people get like really nitpicky at where lines came from. So like, for example, if I breed a tangerine tremper that looks very similar or almost exactly the same as a red diamond, or maybe even better than some red diamonds, technically you can't call that a red diamond unless it came from red diamond lineage. So if that makes sense, I guess if you want to look at it like there's different, no, that won't be a good example, but just take that for what it's worth, what I just said right there. But basically a red diamond is a tangerine tremper bred from a certain breeder in Italy that apparently the goal was high white pigmentation on a very nice tangerine leopard gecko that is also tremper albino. And so it's possible to make animals that look like red diamonds, but if they did not come from that breeder or that breeder's lineage, then technically you can't call them a red diamond. And that's what a red diamond is. So it's the same reason why we have multiple lines of tangerine. So there's Mandarin tangerine, there's Inferno tangerine, there's blood tangerine, and supposedly they all came from different lineages and operations. Now, I do think personally there's a lot of overlap. For example, Mandarin tangerine was probably used to make lines of tangerine that came after it, and vice versa with you know, what came before Mandarin Tangerine. There was probably lines of Tangerine that came before Mandarin that wound up contributing to Mandarin, but eventually they all get split off at a point where a breeder names it and calls it his or her own line. And that's where it kind of derives from. I used to watch you years ago. Do you think you have... I would like to get tortoises eventually. The percentage is just the line, but yet the visual is the goal. Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. Oreo McFlurry, yeah. How did I miss those geckos? Yeah, we have a lot of Oreo McFlurries in the making from our Mr. Freeze Fasciolatus Snow project. I can't pull... I need to continue focusing on cleaning because that's what I need to focus on, getting these animals cleaned and fed. So I'm sorry for now. This is one of our werewolf Black Knight Snows. It just has a very axanthic look to it, monochrome look, kind of silver ashy look. Very cool. Go to sleep, go to sleep. It's a little feisty, so trying to sing it a lullaby here. Once I finish this rack, I'll end the live stream. Then I'll take a quick break. Then I will have to do more cleaning and stuff throughout the nights. Throughout the next few hours. But at least we'll get a nice live stream in. I have 9 left after this guy. Yeah, this one's really cool. There are certain Black Knight Snows that just have a really axanthic look to them. And again, here's a great example of picking out the leopard geckos that exemplify the look you're going for. Not all Black Knight Snows have a silver, ashy, monochrome look. Some of them look more like yellowish, and some of them are more blackish, but these guys are monochrome. They're like they're only different shades of the same color, right? So like gray, white, black. Really, really cool. This guy's like getting ready to jump. You can see he's like, yo. So he'll be kept back for our axanthic project as well as the werewolf project. Yeah, I'll probably do a live stream over the weekend. Actually, we have a birthday party over the weekend, so as long as I have time, I will do a live stream over the weekend. Also, as we get caught up on just reptile cleaning and tasks, I will probably have some of our workers run live streams and stuff on their own, just so that people can get more exposure to leopard geckos. This one's also Sailor Moon project, but you can see, I don't know if you can see, all right, little one. You could see, if you can see the 3 dots on the back of this one, they're filled in with darkness. So we would need, but it still has those dots. And so because it has those circles, it's going to be good for the Sailor Moon project. And we would most likely pair this one with a gecko that was showing more yellow so that we could get those circles more moon-like and yellow like the goal of the project is, right? And that's how you kind of set up projects, is you pick the different features that you're trying to highlight in different animals. And, oh, come on. All right, here we go. We need to sing this one a lullaby. I wish I actually knew more lullabies. I only know... What lullabies do I know? Is the go to sleep one a lullaby? Go to sleep, go to sleep, Go to sleep, my little gecko. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Oh, actually, I'm going to put this over real quick. Since that one, you can see him pushing on the lid like Jurassic Park. What's that scene at the beginning of Jurassic Park 1 that I love so much? Shoot her! What is the Australian guy or whatever? The raptor is like breaking free. And he's like, shoot her! I don't remember if they actually do shoot her. But doesn't matter. They all escape throughout the movie anyway. Man, I love Jurassic Park. I love Aliens. Those are my two favorite franchises. Okay. It's a jumper, yeah. All right, let's get some food in here, and then we will pull him out. He's another breeder as well. It's so funny because our original Black Knight, our granddaddy Black Knight that started it all, male for us, is the sweetest, most gentle, most tame boy in the world. But then a lot of his children are just like little, what do I want to call them? Little troublemakers running around. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Like this guy. This guy's, you's a big troublemaker. All right, you know what you're doing. But he's cool. He's a male Sailor Moon project, so that's going to be pretty cool. You need males and you need females. All right, I reckon this one's going to be calm. Most of our tangerine stuff is very calm, actually. So, yeah, this one's nice and calm. Yeah, there are only a few movies that I will see in theaters, like to pay for and see in theaters. And Aliens is definitely one of them. So me and my wife went to see Romulus this year. If you're a fan of the Alien franchise, you probably already saw that. But if you're on the fringe of the Alien franchise, it's totally a wicked cool movie. You got to go see it. And what else? So I will pay to see Aliens. I will pay to see King Kong. I will pay to see Godzilla. I will pay to see Jurassic Park. And then recently I saw the preview for Mufasa. And I'm usually not a Disney person. Like I like Disney, but not enough to like pay for it or whatever. But for some reason, I just really want to see the Mufasa story live in theaters, in surround sound, in a movie theater. So I will see that. Also, Gladiator. I am definitely going to pay and see Gladiator. And I really hate when commercials and previews show me too much and then I learn what the whole movie is about and I see too many scenes. To me, it like takes some of the element of surprise away. So I purposely do not watch like anything related to the movie that I want to see until after I see it. So I know a lot of people are complaining about Gladiator already. Yeah, Rowdy. What's up, Voodles? A lot of people are complaining about Gladiator because it seems to be like historically straying away from an accurate representation of the first movie, as well as just like the ethnicity of characters and stuff like that, so that they could be more woke and stuff, right? And I didn't want to watch too much of that commentary because plus they were like playing rap music in the preview, which I watched a little bit of the preview and the rap music does sound cool, and rap music is very popular nowadays to go with any action movie. But at the same time, a historical piece like Gladiator that is so beloved by everybody that watched the first Gladiator, you kind of don't want to mingle and mess with it too much, right? I don't know. I don't know how I feel. We'll see. After I watch the movie, I'll see how I feel about everything that they did with it. But Gladiator, I will certainly see. Also, thankfully, we don't have to pay for this, but the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, who's watching that? I told my dad, I was like, we need to have a watch party for this because this is going to be amazing. I think Jake Paul is put in such a tough circumstance because 100% Mike Tyson can knock him out, 100%. But when someone's older like that and their head has taken a lot of shots to the head, and we know about CTE and everything like that now, right? Brain damage and all that, it would be scary to because Jake Paul's, he's not a weak puppy, right? He's a strong dude, and he could certainly hurt Mike Tyson if he gets some shots to Mike Tyson's head and stuff like that. And it's scary to think that Mike Tyson no longer, his number one priority now is his kids and his family. And it would imagine, it would be so sad to see him get hurt really bad or something, right? Because of the Jake Paul fight. And then he can't live out his last years in peace with his family, or he's a vegetable or something, right? Just that's crazy to think about, but it can certainly happen. Do I think it will happen? No. Do I think Jake Paul is going to hold back? No. I think Jake Paul is going to go full force on him, and Jake Paul has knocked out MMA fighters, boxers. He's knocked people hard, either out or down. Athletes, right? And you can't take that away from him. He definitely has the power, especially at Mike Tyson's age now, to seriously hurt Mike Tyson and ruin the rest of Mike Tyson's life, whose goal is not even to fight anymore. So I think it's amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm glad it's happening, but it's scary. It's just scary. Now, if Jake Paul gets knocked out, not a big deal. He's young. He hasn't been knocked out many times in his life. CTE has not really set in for Jake Paul. But for Mike Tyson might be one hit away. He might be one hit away from immense brain damage and it altering his life forever, right? It's just scary to think about. Ooh, this one's gorgeous. All right, we'll see you, Ferguson. Oh my gosh, this one is gorgeous. I don't think the orange is going to show, but there's orange bands in between yellow, in between purple. Just a fantastic looking animal. Love it. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left, including this guy. He pooped a lot on the top of his hide, so it's just going to take an extra second to kind of clean this off. Whoa, that one is gorgeous. What's the morph? This one is Fasciolatus turkmenicus, hyperxanthic, white and yellow, bold. And that is what this one is. It just has a really, really nice look to it. If you could see it in person, I'm sure it's 5 times better in person than what's showing on camera. It almost looks snow, but there's no apparent snow on the data. that I'm looking at on its label. Sometimes snow will hide inside of a leopard gecko adult. That's certainly possible. So what I'll do is, oh no, if this was snow, I would have marked it as a baby. So a new practice that I have now, and this will help all of you guys as well, is when a snow hatches, that's really the only time. You have about 1 month before that gecko starts adopting color. And then once it adopts color, it is really impossible to tell if it's still a snow or not, right? So you should mark it as a snow right from the start. Right when it's a baby, mark it as a snow, because that's when it's white and like pure white and black. At least that's what I started doing, because there's been a few times where, you know, I'm really busy around here. I have a lot of geckos to go through. And when a baby hatches, I don't mark it as a snow. And I tell myself, I will be able to tell that this is a snow as an adult. And sometimes you just can't. It's just the fact of the matter. You just cannot. So this one is not snow, but it is white and yellow, bold, Fasciolatus turkmenicus. And that's the beauty of what Fasciolatus and turkmenicus can do, and why I'm always harping about the wild types, is because the wild types have certain genetic code that just bring a really nice look to the gecko. This is from our cheetah project, and you probably can't tell how orange this gecko actually is. This is not a very spotted cheetah, but it does have very nice like orange banding to it and stuff. So that's why I just decided to keep it. And apparently she wants to move around a lot. Frank, is it possible that you show one of Pikachu's babies? So Pikachu's children and grandchildren is anything that is listed as bold hyperxanthic, because he is the dad. Anything that's like bold hyperxanthic type stuff on our website, and you can look and you could search by category. So if you go to the top and search leopard geckos, you could search by category hyperxanthic, you could search bold, and those will all be his like children and grandchildren. Bold stripe stuff may be his children and grandchildren, but not all of them, because some bold stripes come from other lineages. But anything that's like bold, white and yellow, hyperxanthic bold, that stuff all came from him, which is amazing, because he is an amazing boy. Cheetah, stay in there, cheetah. No. And yeah, I apologize. I don't have the time right now just to be like grabbing different geckos. I really need to focus on cleaning. But also, if you look at our sold leopard gecko section, which is also a tab that you can look at, you'll also see all of the geckos that have sold that are his children and grandchildren. But I have, oh gosh, I have so many of his children and grandchildren that I'm going to be adding to the website over the next, hopefully this weekend, now that Tatum is back helping work and stuff like that, I'll have the time to add a bunch more leopard geckos. We probably have 1,000+ leopard geckos. I don't know exactly how many. I heard a breeder once say, and this totally relates to myself, once you get above 1,000, you just don't count. It's just too hard to keep track. Not impossible to keep track. Maybe I will eventually one day keep track, but for now I don't keep track. I just know that arguably I have 1,000+. I can look at like, you know, how many per rack, how many geckos are in each rack or on each shelf, and I can definitely know that we got over 1,000 in here, maybe well over 1,000, like maybe like, 13 to 1,500, but I feel safe saying over 1,000. And then we have over 100 ball pythons, especially now with baby season. We sold all our baby tegus this year, so we have about 13 adult tegus. I got rid of all my crescent geckos, gargoyle geckos, and then we have 13 juvenile / subadult Microlophus and Celebensis sailfin dragons, which take up 2 entire rooms of the house. That's another thing I think to myself, if I didn't have these sailfin dragons, how much more stuff could I do with the space? But I can't give up my sailfins. They're just such a rare species, such a cornerstone species to like be keeping and working with. And, importation closes down and all that kind of stuff. So I just really want to raise them into adulthood and stuff. This is our owl project. And you can see you see those eyeglasses on the top of the head? I call it the owl project because I want to breed geckos with those eyeglasses and those circles on the top of the head. And so we have a lot of them from our cheetah project and stuff that have that. And so that is one of them there. Ooh, beautiful snow. So check this out. This is a McFlurry. Amy, this one's for you, Amy. This is a boy McFlurry. He has solid black eyes. So he is definitely Eclipse. So let's see. Usually with the white geckos and stuff, the color shows just fine. It's really just the orange colors that don't show up. Okay, McFlurry. McFlurry is definitely break dancing here. Okay, buddy. Okay, sweetie pie. Okay. Sometimes you just got to tire them out. Just treadmill them out. All right, so here's a McFlurry. So this is a Max Snow fasciolatus visual Eclipse with a whitish nose. You can see a whitish nose right there, blue eyeshadow above the eyes, and just a really reduced light coloration. And look, that's from the Eclipse. And he has solid black eyes as well. Beautiful. I love the Oreo McFlurry project. Cornerstone projects for us. Black Knight, Oreo McFlurry. Well, let's just say Fasciolatus Max Snow. I'll just say that. And obviously from the Fasciolatus Max Snow comes the Fasciolatus Max Snow Eclipse, which is the McFlurry, which is what this guy is. It also comes other high lavenders. So there are some that are like not Max Snow that are still very high lavender just because of the Fasciolatus DNA in there. And some of them are more high lavender than others. So I would say the lavender project comes out of that. Hyperxanthic Bold, Afghanicus, white and yellow, Bandit, Halloween mask stuff. That's like our Bumblebee direction. And then obviously our tangerines, we have our Mandarin Infernos, which stem into the Fire project as well as the Red Dragon project for our more reddish orange expression animals. What else is cornerstones? Now we have Cypher, which is totally great because I didn't have that before. We now have Supergiant and Bell and Radar and Blood and Emerine. So there's a lot of that stuff going on. Hi, baby. Time to go. So you can see just how light in coloration this one is. Super, super light. The white on the nose. It doesn't really have a lot of white on the tail tip or the feet, but that's just, sometimes the expression of piedness, removal of the pattern is not super high. And this guy is not super high, but he's still a beautiful animal. Ooh. Amy, you're going to love this one. This one is absolutely stunner from our werewolf project. Oh, and it's a boy. Yes. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Hopefully the color picks up. It's so monochrome. It's so ashy, silvery. And then you can see that the top of the tail is completely shaded in while the sides are not, if you can see that. I should actually take a picture of this one, and I should take a picture of all these guys and show them off. But very silvery, very monochrome, and it has a really cool tail, which is just awesome. So beautiful. And it has a really interesting head pattern on it. And see, this one's a visual snow. I marked it as a baby. Yes, baby, I know. Look at the head pattern too. Might be hard to see, but if you look at the head pattern, it's really unique. Don't do it. Don't do it, Halloween mask head pattern. No. I know. I love their little squirks and squeals. Not like in a bad way. It's just really cool how geckos can vocalize. You know, not all lizards can vocalize. And it's so cute. They're like, eh. Obviously, you don't want to keep them. You know, you don't want to stress them out or anything. But when it does happen, it's just cute and funny. If I buy a mystery leopard gecko, would you pick it out on live? Like right now, I'm about to end the live stream right now. I would do that. It would be I could try to do that, but I would try to encourage you to do that on a what's called like a gecko show and tell live stream. This is not a gecko show and tell live stream. This is me cleaning and then just answering questions. So like I really have to focus on cleaning during this time. But when we do our show and tell live streams where I can focus on showing different geckos for sale, yeah, I could absolutely do that. Let's see. This is the last gecko that I'm going to clean for now. And then I need to take a break. And then I need to do some more work after that break. No, baby. This gecko also has like just cool kind of striping. It has like kind of a striping effect / appearance. You can see down its sides, down its tail. The tail is really wicked. That's what really gets me. It's pretty cool. No. All right. This rack. Oh, this guy is like an athlete. He is a track star. Sometimes I like to check, make sure there's no hemipene issues, you know. This guy's got nice, big old hemipenes. So see, you can see kind of he has like this striping look to him, especially if I show his side right there. And then look at his tail. Do you see how the top of the tail is just like one thick black riveted stripe, and then the side is open white, and it's like that on the other side too. He's just really cool. He's just a really cool gek. So thank you guys for being a part of this live stream. It was always really good to hang with you. See you guys. I will try to do another live stream here soon, but just keep in mind, we're just getting caught up on cleaning, breeding, a lot of things going on. But now that Tatum is back, I should be able to kind of do that. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening. Thank you guys for being here. And of course, if you need to reach out to me, go to geekygeckocreations.com. My phone number is at the bottom of the website. I'm always happy to chat with people, text message or phone calls, as well as I update leopard geckos. If you follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, I will notify you guys of all the geckos that we update. So this weekend, let's set a goal. My goal will be to add at least 20 new geckos to the website this weekend, and hopefully I can accomplish that. But there is about 150 or more that I need to add over November and December while we are running our 50% off sale. So thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a good evening, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, stay safe, pursue your reptile passion, and have a geeky gecko great night, guys. Peace. Thank you.